In NI test systems, we use off-the-shelf hardware to meet the majority of I/O requirements that you find in aerospace. But inevitably, some customization is going to be required. In this video, we'll discuss how NI classifies each type of the customization that you'll need and how we go about implementing those types. In order to understand how NI classifies customizations, you first need to know how we meet requirements, and that's with complete signal paths. Now, a signal path from the unit under test into the integrated test system has two major components, and that's the type of signal that it is, and then the routing that you're using to get that signal into the test system. So to classify customizations, we use a 4-quadrant system that determines whether the type is custom or standard, and whether the routing is custom or standard. Now, the vast majority of all the signals that you're going to have in your system are going to fall into quadrant 1, and that's why Tech 180 has a catalog of predetermined coverage for all of those requirements. So we won't focus on that here. The most common type of customization is going to fall into quadrant 2. Now that's when you have a slightly unusual signal type that can't be met with any of the available off-the-shelf products, but still can use the standard cables and interconnect schemes. Now in this case, we would simply develop a circuit specific to that signal type to meet those specific requirements, and then put that on an SLSC card. Once we've done that once, we now effectively have a quadrant 1 signal. Quadrant 3 is a little bit different. This is where you have a standard I/O type that cannot use the standard cabling and routing schemes to be routed to the unit under test. These are things like 1553 or Ethernet, high bandwidth signals that are going to require custom cable routing out to a bulkhead connector for connection to the unit under test. This is going to require a custom cable and a custom drawing, but the scope is small enough such that it can be done in a standardized way that doesn't impact the rest of the system. Now, quadrant 4 is just a fact of life. This is a customization for which there is no readily available off-the-shelf hardware, and you cannot follow the standard cabling scheme. When we encounter these, we take a black box approach, where we define the physical format and the interface early in the project, allowing the rest of the system to take shape while this long lead customization can be developed independently and then integrated at the end of the project. To recap, NI uses a 4-quadrant system to classify which type of customization you need in your test system. Depending on the quadrant we're in, we use a different methodology to implement that type. But regardless of the quadrant you're in, NI uses a modular methodology that doesn't impact the off-the-shelf nature of the rest of the architecture, and still allows us to employ a model-based, agile system development process that ensures that you get your system on time.